welcome back to my channel, and a little bit of a break from your scheduled financial based videos. In fact, whilst my previous videos so far on the channel have all about helping you to save money, this video may actually end up making you spend money. Yep, it's a tech video, and it's about the latest and greatest iPhones from Apple. And this year's tech announcement from Apple, they announced four different iPhones. You've got the iPhone 12 mini, you've got the iPhone 12, you've got the iPhone 12 Pro, and you've got the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And this video will focus on two of those. We'll focus on the iPhone 12 and we'll focus on the iPhone 12 Pro, which have already been released by Apple. And as we go through this video, I want you to ask yourself one question, which is, do the Pro benefits justify the additional approximate $200 price difference compared to the standard 12 for you? So hopefully I'll come into this video about iPhones with a little bit of a fresh perspective as someone who's also switching across from Android to iPhone. And in fact, the last iPhone I ever owned was the iPhone 4S. And with the 12 and 12 Pro and the Mini and the 12 Pro Max, it feels a little bit like we've come full circle with that design. So let's talk about the design. So all the new iPhones this year come with a little bit more of a boxy, squared off design from the likes of the iPhone 4S or iPhone 5 generations, which I guess technically makes this a bit of a new iPhone year, or a leap year as Apple are calling it. And both the 12 and 12 Pro adopt an identical 6.1 inch screen size, which is in fact so identical that you can get the same screen protectors and the same cases for the 12 and 12 Pro, they'll fit either phone. And it's a pretty industrial design choice from Apple, but it's comfortable, it's pretty grippy, it's pretty premium, and to be honest, it's kind of what you'd expect and hope for when you're spending at least $700 for the 12 and well, $1,000 for the Pro. In terms of screens, they've both got awesome new ceramic shield OLED screens and really great speakers, which make watching any kind of content on them, like the Ted Lasso series on Apple TV Plus, an absolute dream. It's also worth noting that compared to last year, the 12 got a bit of a bump up in screen resolution compared to the decent but hardly outstanding iPhone 11. And come on Apple, you know, where's our always on displays? Like, this is something Android's had for years. Now we've got OLED and we've got the really efficient chips. Surely we could do always on displays? Now let's talk about unboxing. I thought about doing an unboxing video separately, but it's hardly worth doing it this year. All you'll find in the box is a lightning to USB-C cable, a SIM ejector tool, just one sticker, and a warranty booklet. And where's my USB-C port, Apple? We're already halfway there with iPad, having replaced the Lightning connector with USB-C, and it kind of just feels like Lightning on the iPhone at the moment is just there to make money from the Made for iPhone certification. I don't see too much of a reason why we're not at USB-C right now. However, there may be something that they have recently introduced that may answer that question. And that is Magsafe. So this year, Apple brought a new magnet-based technology into the iPhone, which gave us a bit of a glimpse of a portless future. And it also has the potential for some rather cool accessories, as Moment have already beautifully demonstrated. My only question on this is, Apple, bring this back to MacBooks, please. So now we've talked about Magsafe and all the benefits it has, let's talk about one other big benefit that they brought this year, and that's 5G. And it's fair to say that Tim made a bit of a song and dance about 5G on stage.
Today, we're bringing 5G. 5G, 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 5G.
So if you didn't catch Tim's very excitable announcement about 5G, you'll be pleased to hear that all of the different iPhones launched this year have 5G enabled. But the reality of whether 5G is useful in the real world is quite different. Now, I've not really been able to test 5G in the UK. I'm lucky to get a decent 4G signal, let alone 5G where I live, and my carrier has got patchy at best 5G signal. And with lockdown, I'm not going to be able to test it. In fact, one thing I've decided to do is actually turn off the 5G modem in the phone just to save a little bit of battery for now, until I can go to an area where I have 5G or where I can benefit from 5G. But it's really good that Apple have finally caught up with the competition and they introduced it across the whole lineup and finally future-proof these iPhones, at least for the next few years until 6G or 7G come along. But I think we've got a little bit of a while until that happens. Now, one thing we always get every year, and which is probably the biggest innovation from manufacturers right now, arguably so, is the innovation in cameras and different camera setups between mid-range, low-range and flagship phones today is where we see the biggest divide. Now look, the iPhone 12 has an awesome wide and ultra-wide camera, and the 12 Pro has both of these and a telephoto on top. Now, I personally find the ultra-wide a little bit more fun compared to telephoto and potentially more useful. So I'm really happy that in the iPhone 12 you get the wide and you get the ultra-wide lens as per the iPhone 11 setup last year. And what this means for the Pro model is that if you're a little bit of a photography fanatic, you'll benefit from the 2x telephoto lens. But if you do go for the iPhone 12, you can always benefit from a little bit of digital zoom too. Now my main use of telephoto so far is to helping me zoom in to get myself or my shadow out of a photo, particularly when it's sunny. As demonstrated here, where I've been taking some great snaps of my model. And some of the camera features that they introduced this year, such as Pro RAW, Apple have finally introduced a RAW camera mode in their iPhones. However, they've only made it available for Pro devices, when realistically from a hardware perspective there's no limitation here, but photography buffs will absolutely love this, as they could get it in a DSLR camera, now they can get it in an iPhone, which is awesome. Let's talk about performance and battery life. So with the A14 Bionic chip this year, Apple introduced yet again the fastest chip in the mobile industry, which also gives some really good hope for their new ARM MacBooks that are coming out soon. I never noticed a slowdown or a hiccup using any of these devices in the time that I've used them so far, whereas I have noticed that on my previous Galaxy Note 10 Plus in the past on the Exynos processor. So battery life. Now, it's hard to determine what an actual normal day is at the moment because of coronavirus. I'm working from home most of the time at the moment and I can just plant it on the Magsafe charger, or dare I say it, even the Pixel stand, which is quite useful. Now, in my usage, battery life has been totally fine, although not epic, and it's more than I could get out of my Note 10 Plus, for example, with the, let's be fair, fairly inefficient Exynos chipset that Samsung put in a lot of their devices. Now, Apple say that the battery this year is about the same compared to last year. And across the two models, they are also very comparable. There may be ever so slightly less battery life on the Pro model because of the additional RAM. Check out the Mr. Who's the Boss really awesome battery test on this. He does a really good test between all the different devices and how they perform. The way I see it though, the battery this year is a bit of a swing and a miss from Apple. They introduced the new A14 Bionic chip with the new 5nm process, which is going to be more efficient compared to the 7nm A13 Bionic from last year, but why make the battery smaller? At least keep the battery the same size, so there's an improvement in battery life surely. Now this year, the battery capacity in both of these phones is about 10% smaller than last year. Now I can only put this down to the fact that they needed to make some room to fit the new magnets inside for Magsafe charging, and thus the battery had to be trimmed down as a result. I don't know if that's worth it, potentially, but I don't see why they couldn't have given it an extra sort of 5, 10, 15% battery too. Let's talk software. So with iOS 14, it's probably one of the biggest changes to iOS since really iOS began. And if I could sum it all up into just one word about the new release, it would be customizability. You're now able to choose the browser you want, the email provider you want. You can even have widgets on the home screen now. You're not just limited to just the little app icons. And there's even a new app gallery. So if you scroll all the way across to the right side of your screen, you can see all the different apps that are installed on your phone, but without having to look at them all the time on the app home screen. Great. So you've got to this part of the video and you're like, cool, I need a new iPhone. The new iPhone 12 and 12 Pro sound great. But Charles, come on, give me a summary on the differences between the two so I know exactly what I'm missing out on. Perfect, let's go. So the iPhone 12 Pro has an extra 2x telephoto lens and LiDAR, which effectively allows you to take better night shot or portrait shot photos, and it also has Pro RAW, which allows you to take pictures in RAW and edit those in greater detail afterwards. You also have completely different colour schemes between the two, so the iPhone 12 allows you to choose from a various range of colours, whereas the 12 Pro has a smaller range of colours but a little bit more premium. You also have two types of finish, so you have aluminium in the iPhone 12 and you have stainless steel in the 12 Pro. What that means in reality is basically just a little bit more weight on the 12 Pro. The storage options are a little bit different. In the standard 12 they start at 64 gig, in the 12 Pro they start at 128 gig, and you also get 2 extra gigabytes of RAM in the 12 Pro compared to the standard 12. And the pricing difference, if you compare apples to apples, so 128 gig iPhone 12 compared to 128 gig iPhone 12 Pro, the difference is $150, or $200 if you compare the 64 gig iPhone 12 compared to the starting 128 gig iPhone 12 Pro. In reality, having used these devices both over the last week or so and dipping in and out between the two, I think it's fair to say that this year's iPhones have never been more alike. Like, if you want a big iPhone, go for the 12 Pro Max. If you want a small iPhone, go for the 12 Mini. However, if you want sort of, I guess, the normal sized iPhone, you've got the 12 and 12 Pro, and really all the differences come down to is, do you need the advanced photography features in terms of Pro RAW? Would you benefit from a LiDAR scanner for having better portraits or better night shots? Do you need a telephoto lens? Is digital zoom okay on the standard 12? And is 2 gig of RAM going to make a difference to your life? 6 gig compared to 4 gig? In reality, it's probably not going to make much difference. And I honestly think that for 99.9% of people, just get the 12, unless there is anything from a photography or videography point that any of those benefits will bring to you, then get the 12 Pro. Otherwise, the 12 is going to do all of your use cases and more really, really well. Hope you enjoyed this detailed look at the 12 and 12 Pro and the comparisons and similarities between the two. Let me know down in the comments below which one you're going to pick this year, and also if there's any other tech videos like this that you'd like to see, or if you think tech videos are something you'd also like on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!